Shanti, and good evening. Very warm greetings from frosty Cambridge. I hope you can hear well, and the translation is fine. It's Yog Prayog, in English, yoga experiments. Feels very apt for this time of natural introversion. And the one that coined the word meditation in English is Marcus Aurelius, and Roman emperor. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." So such a beautiful invitation and discovery. I'd like to share another reflection, and this comes from a former long ago Bishop of Geneva and saint in the Catholic Church, which is Saint Francis de Sales. And he said, half an hour's meditation each day is essential, except when you're busy. Then a full hour is needed. So true. So again, a very warm welcome, and enjoying the space already that's got created with the intention of everyone for this exploration of yoga experiments. And, going to welcome in Brother Prashant. Good evening.
Thank you, and good evening from here. And I liked both these, quotations very much. And the subject of, understanding the soul, it is literally like discovering the wonder. And biggest success of Maya is just to block this, the central part of us, that is not just central part, us. So you get this entire science community who says, we don't want to hear about the soul. And here, what we are doing, we are giving it full attention, and we want to make it conscious, not just believe in the soul, know the soul, but let the soul become conscious. And this is the whole game. Sometimes Baba uses the word, first lesson is the last lesson. And why last lesson? If the soul is conscious, it is like Prince becoming conscious. And if anyone comes out the dream, wakes up, then the entire waking reality is his. And this is exactly our story, waking up and experiencing the waking reality. So let us start with just a minute of silence. And during this minute, let us come to that region beyond. That is all. Not the world that we were involved with or thinking about, the world beyond. And we see that region beyond in the image of a sky. With the eyes open, eyes closed, we come to that region. next step for us is to engage with that region beyond. And by the word engage, we are there, as if it is right in front of your eyes. Thank you. I will be using the board, and you will see the images. This is like a great opportunity for us, this dedicated hour or 2 hours to experiment with the mind. And as Aurelius is saying, if is it Aurelius or one of the quote, someone is busy, if he's busy, he has to create more time. He has to create hour, not 1 minute. We are here is a gathering, very lucky to create this time. And during these hours, today and tomorrow, we'll get an opportunity to experiment with this extraordinary faculty we got, and it is mind. What is happening normally with this mind? This mind is used by 10 heads of Ravan. It is in this whole universe, there are lots in this world. There are galaxies and there are planets and many, many things. One who is experiencing all of this is the mind. If the mind was not there, there's no one there to experience it. So the mind is the thing that is experiencing it. And at present, mind is used by Ravan. 10 heads of Ravan are competing to use the mind. Is it a problem? Yes, Ravan is product of ignorance. That's why it is a problem. Ravan is addict, his embodiment of bondage and embodiment of ignorance. And so the mind is used for different kinds of sorrows and desires, by Ravan's madness. This is why the big success would be to let the angel use the mind. That is our holy aim. Aim of Baba's task is this: let the angel use the mind, not Ravan. So we often show this image, and that is such a useful image for us. The starting position is this angelic soul. That is the starting position of all of us. Angelic soul has his own world. What Ravan is obsessed with is this story. This is why if you see the mind is creating thoughts and racing with thoughts, What is exactly going on there? 10 heads of Ravan is obsessed with the story. That is all. Petty things within it, but Ravan cannot stop thinking of it, worrying about it, complaining about this. So he's caught in this story. The big reality is right in front of everyone's nose, and it is in front of our nose. World of God and world with the God. World of perfection and world of love and joy. This is right in front of each one of us. How do we change this game? Ravan is a product in ignorance. In other words, if there is darkness, then Ravan is dominant. Darkness of ignorance. As long as the darkness is there, we can't shift it. Our success will be first change the environment, bring the light. So let us come in our experiments. This is the style for today. These are experiments in yoga. And feel free to ask questions connected with the experiments. A little discussion, what we are going to practice, and we practice. So, first step for us, how do we create this light? Do you want to tell? What is the easy way for us to come in the full light? You can answer. If someone says, I want to come in the light, I want to come in full light, not just 50%, I want to come in 100% light, and I want to do it now. What can he do?
Use the Paris intellect, Gyan, knowledge, visualization. Come out of the body consciousness.
Good. All answers are right. But the word paras is very useful here. Paras gives you permission to go for full clarity, full light. We are using it with that meaning. And we all have paras, and we have the option to use it. So the moment I use paras, I see it the way God is seeing it. And the name for God is Parasnath. So in full clarity, and what happens in full clarity, in full light, the invisible prince wakes up. Game change with this one step. Invisible prince wakes up. And for the invisible prince, this second, it is normal to be that tiny, tiny point. It's a tiny point of light that is totally normal for him, for the invisible prince. It is normal to belong to that supreme sky. It is normal for him to be immortal. It is normal for him to see his complete independence from the physical world. It is normal and natural for him to see the physical world for what it is. He can see the temporary nature of it. He can see the fictional nature of it. That it is a theater, story. Begins, ends. He's seeing it now in full light. At one time, he was completely lost in that story. Now he's seeing it from beyond. So this right now, this part also, what is happening in our gathering, that is also happening within the story. Prashant is talking within that story. Invisible Prince can see it for what it is and understand his complete independence. Invisible Prince knows that he is very lucky. He is from the family of God, belongs to God, loved by God, is from that family. He is naturally free from any needs. He knows he got the best. Lucky, he knows his world is a world of joy and love. Needs nothing from anywhere. And nothing in the three worlds can harm him even the slightest. Invisible Prince knows this. He sees it, experiences it. The story cannot harm anyone. The story is harmless, and his region, the entire region, is beyond harm. All we have done is created the environment, Paras environment, and soul has woken up. That's all. Soul has become conscious. And the soul that is conscious understands he is eternal prince, belongs to the King of Kings. Invisible. This whole dimension is alokik, but that appears totally natural. The physical world appears very gross. Just like for a theater, you need to use gross things, masks and props, they are very gross. So he understands the physical world, gross and temporary. His world is alokik. He knows he is lucky, he also knows everyone is lucky. This is a region beyond belief. Universe is positive. Positive and perfect. As we continue on our journey, journey of the invisible prince continues. It is not that was nice meditation for 5 minutes and then we go back in our ordinary attitude. It is the invisible prince is conscious now. There is no reason why he should not be conscious. Drama will continue, nothing will come to a halt. But let the invisible prince remain conscious. Thank you. May I ask, how was the attention, concentration? You want to share? How was, who had a good score, good attention? What we are noticing here, there is not lots of steps necessary in this. Yesterday in the Murli, Baba says it many times. Yesterday in the Murli, Baba said, peace. People are asking for peace of mind and peace of mind. I said, it's a game of 1 second. You don't need books to write books on peace and talk about peace. You want peace? Then go experience peace. Swadharma of the soul is peace. It's a religion. So what exactly is Baba saying? It's a game of a second. You don't need too many steps in this. No problem. 4 steps, 5 steps. We also talk about it. But if you want, it is of 1 second. Also to know that Maya wants you to go into relax left leg, relax right leg, first practice something else and then practice something. But then you don't take the last step, what is really required. There is no time for it. And Maya is happy with that, to keep you in this busy, in this box in different ways. That's fine, as long as you don't become conscious. Why Maya is keen that you don't take this final step? You want to tell?
Well, ego that Maya is protecting does not want to die.
Yes, that's right. And I think there is a war internally inside each one of us. It is ego is the king at the moment. Ego is ruling the mind. That's what we said, 10 heads of Ravan. They are in charge. Iron Age means this. Iron Age, 10 heads of Ravan are ruling the mind. And then you are saying now the angel is going to rule the mind. So Maya's full program is to prevent this angel using the mind, because it is like removing their king Ravan. And every second, soul is conscious, ego suffocates. Ego is going, ego is shrinking, ego cannot rule. So there is internally battle. Ego wants to come back. Darkness favors the ego. Know that also. If there is an environment of darkness, that favors the ego. If there is an environment of light, that favors the angel. So Paras is what we are working on. What is the uniqueness of Paras? Paras makes this physical world appear small. It shrinks. So when we are using Paras, it becomes so obvious. This physical world is a story. How absurd. It has got beginning and end. In Patthar, we don't want to see the end of it. In the darkness, it appears that is everything, and this is mine, and it as if I hope, I don't want to think about the death. I want subconsciously, we interpret as if this will be with me forever. They even use this word. The diamond is forever, this will forever, my love is forever. Everything there is going to end. But they are having this fantasy that things will last forever. So you are exposing this ignorance by bringing full light, Paras. And when it appears clear, this is a fictional world, ego shrinks. That is a success. Even for 1 minute, it shrinks. That's a success. It is not going to disappear in one day, but every minute you are using this full light, ego is shrinking. All 10 hits of Ravan are shrinking. Let us come back to this same practice. Our aim is to this hour is not that much analyzing. We want to know, that is good, but let us go in the mindset of experiencing. So when I'm using the commentaries, try and experience. During those minutes, we don't need to take notes even. We will have the recording afterwards. But give a chance. So 1 second, game of a second. And in this second, we are seeing the prince. Prince wakes up. Invisible prince knows that he is very lucky. Invisible prince knows his complete independence from the story and independence from the role. In this case, Prashant. Prashant is part of that story. The whole thing is temporary. That episode is going to finish, Prashant is going to disappear, and that story is also going to end. Invisible prince knows of that. At the same time, the invisible prince knows of his world, and his world is eternal. He knows everyone is lucky because they all are immortal. Their nature is of joy and love. All and forever. This universe is a positive universe. Which means in a natural state of all life is happiness and love. If that was not natural, we can't just generate it from somewhere. Natural state of everyone is positive and divine. We use this word divine when there is no demon. Demon is only in darkness. So that is nothing inauspicious in that natural state. All are immortal, all are immortal without needing anything. So in this region, there is no concept of desire, no concept of disappointment. If there are no desires, and if they are beyond harm, and there is no reason for any kind of sorrow. They need nothing from anywhere, and their life is silent celebration, eternal celebration and silent celebration. This is that world of God, world with God. Invisible Prince, very fact, is far beyond Ravan's world. Why does he need to go in that story world and create desires? He's completely free, knows his independence from the story. And independence means story cannot harm him. There are many stories, there are many, cartoons and films. The world is full of stories. If those stories don't affect us, why should this story? Invisible Prince is free. Only in ignorance he can go in that story and create a bondage. And that is when, as if invoke Ravan, that option is there. In full light, he can see this contrast. He can see the option of the bondage. He can see the option of complete freedom. In full light, he can see the bigger map. So in that state, there are no expectations in that story. There are no preferences even. Next scene, something changes, something disappears. No preferences. His world remains divine. His world remains secure. His world remains eternal. He has company of God. But worthiness to be loved by God. If someone is so free, he naturally is egoless, viceless, desireless, egoless, and sorrowless. Bodiless, he finds it strange. Anyone thinks he is the body from that story. That is very natural for him. If someone has even less ego, they become worthy of respect and worthy of love. They are called Mahatmas. The invisible prince is with zero ego, zero vices. They are supremely loved, supremely worthy to be loved by God, loved by all. All that has happened, he has come in full light, that's all. And he realizes that truth is immensely beautiful. Truth of everyone is good. Everyone is lovely, loving, and lucky. Just as he is seeing this, he makes it possible to create light for them. His attention becomes like light. In Baba's words, do avyakt service through your avyakt form. And also this invisible prince, this is the avyakt. He is not vyakt, he is not gross. And he knows everyone is his invisible brother. They all are the brothers, invisible brothers. They all are from the same family, worthy to be loved by God. Their form is the same, tiny points, stars. And he knows that they are lovely, they are loving, and they are lucky, very lucky. They are from this dimension that is divine and alokik, positive universe, where everything appears perfect. There is nothing that is not right. Everything appears best and perfect. So everyone is lucky. We are just seeing this, and you are shining light. What does that mean, shining light? It will become easier for them to see this, see their extraordinary truth. Baba uses the word lighthouse. And lighthouse, we don't go in the story in a lighthouse, we shine light where it is required. This is the area, this extraordinary truth is right in front of everyone. We said it is right in front of each one's nose. But why they are not experiencing it? Because there is no light there. Attention of everyone is in the story. But you are creating light. It becomes like a huge help. You are understanding the importance of this world. So your attention itself is like light. Avyakt service through your avyakt form. So invisible prince is seeing this. More general. We are at this stage not we are seeing the big family. All the souls of the world, they are all from the same family. And the light, in the darkness, you create light, there are results. Light wins. It is not possible in the darkness you create light and that doesn't bring results. It is not possible. So it has guaranteed results. Start the process. And every second we are creating this light here. Baba calls it donation of yoga. As we continue our journey in the sky, on earth, we remember our beautiful truth. Thank you. You want to say anything? Maybe we'll hear from you.
Thank you, and appreciating the invitation to not analyze as such, although understanding questions are good, but it was helpful personally, and the fact it's a second and it's simple. Well, it says often it's simple, but it is radical. And it is simple, yet it is subtle. So we're seeing that perspective that makes shining light there reinforces that it is simple, but it is from that full detachment. And then there is full worthiness. And also it's a shared experience, so it's actually what everyone else's origin is also. There are some questions here. Shall I ask them now?
Yeah.
This is an easy one, I think. The invisible prince is an angel as well.
Yes. When you are creating light, that becomes an angelic action. So angel, if you are performing the angelic actions, and we said avyakt service is done from your avyakt form, so it becomes an angelic. Avyakt is angel. Yes.
Thank you. That's helpful. So nice. Something you said triggered the question. So is the soul not affected by the drama when it is awakened? Is that correct understanding?
Yes, when you are awake, and when there is this full light, 100% light, you are understanding any story. Say it's story of Tarzan, it doesn't affect you. You may read the story, you may see a film of the story. It doesn't affect you. It is a story. Your world is separate. It may be a three-dimensional film. It is all around you, Tarzan and all these. It doesn't affect you. You see it as a joke. You are amused because that is a story, and your world is separate. It may appear, so you may be fooled by this, because it is three-dimensional and everything is around you. But the story cannot harm anyone. even if they make a huge drama based on that story, it cannot harm you. Same thing here. In full light, you realize this fiction cannot harm you even the slightest. You are immortal and you are safe. Not even the slightest. It also means in our confusion, this Ravan that takes birth, he sees himself forever as a victim. Right from first second, he sees himself as a victim. And you just need to say some one word and he will be wounded. He will feel he is hurt by your word. Leave aside Tarzan and the dragons coming. He feels he's harmed, by situations. But the invisible prince, he is not harmed. Does that help?
Yes, the one that asked the question can share, but it's amazing the way
For all of us, it is good to remind this and underline, not just as knowledge, but repeatedly. Soul consciousness means this, that you are beyond harm, never a victim. Many, many things will happen in the story, including destruction and death, but never a victim and never a beggar. Then it is soul consciousness. If there is a beggar also and there is a victim, during those seconds, you are not soul conscious. Ego is beggar. Ego is creating preferences, expectations, and is begging all the time. And can get disappointed. And so also there is a victim. And as we saw, ego is constantly a victim. Come in that space, in full light, the invisible prince, he knows he is never a beggar and never a victim. Forever prince, forever noble.
Another question. Someone is sharing, there was an experience about a week or so ago, as if suddenly strongly connected to a past family member, one that's passed on, and very much identifying with feelings as if from their view. Where did that come from? And they're saying they weren't thinking about that person. And could you explain maybe what happened? Because it was connected to a lot of feelings, a lot of emotion.
It's interesting. They may need some personal discussion more about. It may appear like that. Need to be discussed personally. But want to know more, that's why.
Yes, yeah, it is maybe a very specific situation and question. A question, this beautiful world of truth, where everyone is everything is positive and everyone, I think the question is, are we having this of everyone? I think that's what the question is asking.
Is this a positive universe for everyone? Absolutely, for everyone, including animals. All souls, they themselves are positive. All souls, they are immortal, and once they are immortal, they experience the same. Their natural state is of joy and love. What Om Shanti, that doesn't apply just to human souls. It is to all souls. And it is a positive universe for everyone. And our love is not just to human souls. Our love is for all souls, all life. That is lovely. Truth is golden. This universe that we are speaking about is the true universe. That is golden. That is the only reason we can create a golden age at a physical level, because the seed, original, the seed is positive and golden. That's why when in Hindi, golden age is called Satyug, age of truth. So once you are in truth, it becomes golden. A physical world is a reflection of what is the original.
Thank you, and very connecting answer. I hope that helps. Happy to hear in the chat. No other questions?
Just as with human beings, we have, and in our confusion, and Ravan is using the mind, and everything is distorted, and we can't see our own truth. Leave aside our positive universe, we can't even see ourselves. Such is the state in this full darkness. So also animals, we pull animals also into that darkness. We are responsible to create that darkness and then pull everyone else also. So now is the time to come out of this, come into full light. And as we come in that light, we make it easy for others to come in that full light.
Thank you. Yeah, no other comments or thoughts just at the moment.
Yeah, excellent. I know here you might have noticed we use this avoid the language I. We have not used I, the soul. Even we are avoiding that language. Just seeing the prince. See the invisible prince, life of the prince. Why are we avoiding the letter I? The simple reason, the letter I is used. Who has been using the letter I all this time? Make a guess. Who normally likes the letter I?
Pen-headed monster?
Yes, that's absolutely. And as Ravan absolutely likes this letter I. And ego, all the time, ego, I means something in the story. If someone says, I am this, and look at this, me, that is 100% of the time. In our present culture, the letter I is used for ego. Each time the letter I is used, it just reinforces the ego. But that is fine. The language, we need a language to communicate. But during the meditation time, when we use the same I for the soul, then ego gets mixed with it. we can't use suddenly another I, because consciously, subconsciously, I means Harry for you. Suddenly it will not become soul. So it becomes mixed. And when you mix demon with the divine, then it cannot remain divine. To get an experience of the divine, it has to be zero demon. Understand? So to get an experience, many times people ask how to come in the spiritual experiences. Our aim is not to mix. That's all. Take cautions. Different way we may have to take the caution. Don't mix. Also, you might have seen in these practices, we start from there. We invisible prince started with the invisible prince, his life. There is no need of preamble. If you start from here, then you as if you start from the ego. He gets a chance, ego, and then you have to drop the ego. That becomes more difficult if you start with him. Start from the sky. Experiment, and you will find there is no problem. You are not using the letter I. You have not created all this, relax left leg and relax right leg. You're not going to breathe here and just go. Mama likes this. Jivan Mukti in 1 second. Peace, you want peace? Go for it in 1 second. Don't need to spend too much time. And it is a game of a second. You go there. And it is better. You start clean, and the other experiences become easier. Experiences are important in this, that it is the experiences that creates in you deep inside the fun. Here we are talking about positive universe. It is not just words. We are using big words, divine and love. These are to be experienced. And how to experience them? Bypass ego. Whatever that helps you bypass ego, use them. We are using the word bypass, which means we don't claim that we can be free from ego in one day. Ego are created over a long period of time, so they are there, but we are bypassing them at the present time. We also know each time you are creating this experience, you are growing in soul awareness, ego continues to shrink. As you are creating light, even for 1 minute, you are creating light, ego will shrink. That is guaranteed. But at the present time, we are just bypassing. Let us create another minute of experience. And during this minute, our aim is just to come in this supreme home. So in a second, we come to this region of this light. We understand it is an expanse. just experiencing this expanse of light, aware that this region is beyond the story. That's all. World of complete silence. But this is also region free from story, so no thoughts of the story. Aware that this expanse is timeless, eternal, and the souls, tiny stars, they are immortal. And they don't need to know anything else. Thank you. So during this just 1 minute, we give ourselves this aim, no thoughts of the story. And that is a nice aim. Baba tells us, remember Shantidham. That is where we are going next. Remember the Shantidham. Don't remember the world of sorrow. Remember your home of silence. What happens is these thoughts of the story, as we said, Ravan wants these thoughts. But other thing is these thoughts feed Ravan. They may appear to be very innocent, harmless, wasteful, ordinary. They may appear like that, just wasteful. But they are not just wasteful. They feed some ego somewhere. There are 10 heads there. There is an agenda. And the only place that really nourishes the soul is the Shantidham, home of the souls. You have to step out of this constant grind of Ravan. Also, what you will notice, there are many things in this story. It appears it is all serious. For Ravan, it is all serious. It matters, and he has got things to complain about, and he has got things to worry about. Understand? Have you noticed anything like that? The Ravan has full program, so many things to complain, things of concern, things to compare, things to compete, things to question. You got full program. So many things he has to complain about within this Cinderella world, Cinderella story. He keeps, his compulsive, thoughts about this. You create full light and you realize that there is nothing to complain there. Because the story never promises you any logic. That is nice. In full light, you realize that any story, it doesn't promise you logic or reason or sense. So just clap and go home. Just watch the story, what it is, clap and go home. So if any time you get any feelings about it, just know that it is Ravan's feelings. Even if it were 1 hour ago, 5 minutes ago, know that these are Ravan's feelings because of the story. When the soul is conscious, he understands there is nothing there in that story to complain, to be concerned about, and not to compare, to compete, to question, to criticize. There is nothing there. It is all non-stop entertainment, Cinderella entertainment. And your life is celestial celebration. That is your life. So you got this big celebration going on there. You got a great family. How come you have time to go in this Cinderella club and be obsessed in a compulsive thinking about some petty things? But that is Ravan's madness, as we said. That will continue to become less as you create time in celebration. Measure of your transformation is this: more you create light, more angel is conscious, more you become free from the pettiness and the thoughts about the story. Then you do come in the story, but it's all part of the celebration. Story is perfect. We said positive universe. In the positive universe, it is not that story is negative. Story is also perfect story. Beginning is great and end is also great. He doesn't say anything was wrong in the story. If the angel is conscious during that time, he doesn't say anything is wrong. For ego, that there will be something that is not quite right. You want to add anything? Say anything?
Few questions have been stirred in the story.
It is a question to me.
Yeah. What about achievement? Is there anything to achieve in the story?
For the invisible prince, the biggest achievement is already there for him. What can be the bigger achievement than discover immortality, life with the highest on high, King of Kings, have the great family, divine royals, and they too, are beings of joy and love, true family, and you have discovered the truth also. And life where you got the best, and you feel full, that you need nothing anywhere, and you are beyond harm. This is like the biggest achievement you already got. And now, in it, you do come in the story, but you are coming for play. It is a play. Just like you got your world, and you may go into, some to play whatever game, play football. You might go to, the World Cup, and you may try to achieve also in that. But you are not going there as a beggar. You are not going there as ever a victim. It is fun. That's why you are going there. In that context, if you are seeing achievements, that's great. We create golden age. With that spirit, we create golden age. But in Iron Age, Ravan's achievement is to collect gold. He is not creating golden age. He says, I want more gold than someone else. That is achievement of Ravan.
Would make a good cartoon.
Say it again.
I was just, ego wants gold. It's like ridiculous in a way. But the irony of this zero position creates golden age. It's a very interesting. When the soul is still and silent in the home, is performing an action a compulsion or the natural nature of the soul? I guess she means they're coming from that space. I think that's...
Yeah. There is no compulsive feeling when the soul is naturally soul conscious, and there is no percentage of Ravan. There is no compulsion. It is like fun. Energy is positive. Energy is of fun. So it is like a natural expression. Just like, someone else is doing it, you are equally happy with it also. A bit like that. You are loving. Someone else want to play, yeah, you play first. A bit like that. There is no compulsive feeling. There is full contentment in the soul who is conscious.
Thank you. I hope that helps. And if there are any follow-up questions. Do astronauts feel somewhat like the invisible prince when they are out there on a mission in physical space, in space?
Sure. Some percentage, they say 25% of those who went in astronauts who have gone into space, they had some level of spiritual experiences. What really happens to human beings also, if you go in a forest and there are no human beings there, no one to remind you are whatever, your mother, your director of the company, there's no one to remind you. You are in the midst of the nature. That in a passive way brings you to soul consciousness. That's why they feel in a simple way, they might just feel happy. They experience some peace. They experience some contentment. some may have spiritual experiences, but these are passive experiences. And so also those who go into space, they have some level, some percentage of those experiences. And but in some cases, it has changed their lives. Edgar Mitchell, he started an institution to teach spiritual knowledge and do research in this. So these things do happen, but because they are passive and they are not giving the full understanding. They know there is something more, but they don't know how to explain it. And they cannot sustain it. They remember the experience, 10 years ago, but they cannot come to those experiences again. Is it time for our rooms?
Yes, I'm just reflecting on the word passive, like meaning there are some, you would say would you say it is like a soul conscious experience, but without clarity of what that is, so you can't recreate it without those conditions?
Yeah. Passive means, wind is bringing something. Wind brings some fragrance, and if the direction of wind changes, then it is gone. So it is not in your control. In a passive way, it so happens the factors are not supporting ego. That's why there is soul experience. But the moment that the circumstance change, then ego is back into action. It is still Ravan's kingdom, in other words.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, for more relatable everyday experience is nature. And that is, for many, a big highlight to go into nature. And for those reasons you mentioned, that's probably what's happening. So to have it in our hands is an infinitely more powerful position. Of course, that requires study and effort, but the reward is the real sovereignty, isn't it? The real freedom. But useful to know what's happening. Yeah, thank you. So time for rooms, and would Prashant like to create a question for sort of the sharings, discussions?
Yeah, how to reinforce this invisible prince experience, and how to bypass ego, how to get a clean experience without polluting it with ego. And the second subject that we started with, how to use the mind, how to the best way we can use our mind. What's the best thing we can do with our mind? It's a big question, but it is nice to start discussion, but we have to question this long term.
Yeah, that's a reflection almost you can bring every day. Thank you. I think I captured that in the chat. So, and the invitation will come shortly for rooms. And just a reminder, you can, I think, change the room if you need, and just let us know if you need assistance enjoying. We'll meet you back soon. Thank you. Warm welcome back. Very nice to be able to connect in the rooms today. Should we create a little bit of time to pick what is alive for ourselves in the discussion and session before we continue? Short practices have been really nice. Nice to share that space. It'd be great to hear, or would you like to share in the chat what practices you came up with that help reinforce the print? One thing that came up in the discussion of many is knowing that the drama has end. The Murlis are reminders of the positioning and the sovereignty of the soul, the natural prince-like nature, but also knowing that there is an examination. So that wakes up every student, doesn't it? It's like, oh yes. I don't know if you have these dreams of being a student and you haven't prepped for the exam. So this really awakens, I think, and keeps us on track. But it's fun, isn't it? It's from the heart. It's like a natural. You want to. And if you know your subject, you can't wait for the exam. It's just a chance to show your skills. So why not here? Why not with us? And the thought came here about the prince is normal, but we need to just reduce the atmosphere that supports the beggar, because that is the only block. So this very interesting aspect of bypassing was brought. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your experiences and sharing. So there's a lot that you've all got to share. So meanwhile, Prashant, we also have a few questions amongst the practices. So over to you.
Sure. And it is such a nice contrast, what was shown just now in your discussion. So the one hand there is beggar and a victim, slave, and a demon. Ravan is all of this. All this ego, they can take the form of the slave, experience life of a slave, demon, beggar, and a victim. These are the lowest denominations in any society. And we are saying, what is happening to the mind? That is what we are concerned about. Mind is used by these four. Even if there is success, it is a successful beggar. It is still the mindset of a beggar. And victim, so right now things are okay for the victim, but the mindset is of the victim. The programming is of the demon and the slave. And that is what the Iron Age. Iron Age is not outer life, but mind is used by this, beggar and demon and victim. We have the option to shift who is using the mind. Let it be the angel and the prince. We don't have to wait for traffic control. We do it now. And we saw how easy it is, to understand. You change the game by using blanket paras. You are not saying, I have to gradually do this. No, right now it is paras. Right now we are seeing it. If the story, it's story, full stop. There is no need to analyze it further. That is the way the script is. Let us move on. Let us go beyond. So, and that opens in that full light. You open the door for the invisible prince and invisible angel. As if, instead of demon, it becomes the word of God. And there can't be anything higher. This swing. One side is a demon, other side, we're talking about the angel. Let us create one more minute of this silent experience. And it is a game of a second, as we say. Invisible prince, this second. It is that invisible prince is the one who is never a beggar, who is never a slave. Why would he? There is just a story. Story doesn't harm anyone. His life is of celebration and benevolence. Just by he staying there, he is making it easy for others to benefit. Life of punya. Punya is highest karma, opposite of sin. Donation of life, Baba uses this word. Someone who is unconscious becomes conscious. It is like a donation of life. Invisible prince. He becomes conscious and game changes completely. Then he is the one who is in the waking reality. And it is not effort anymore. His life is silent dance. We don't say, the sentence, I should not be victim, I should not be beggar. We don't say that way. Because the moment I word is used, it becomes, as we said, ego gets mixed. And it is not like a commandment. Though Baba says, don't be a victim, Baba says, don't be a beggar. That is not the way it is to be heard. first let the soul be conscious, and soul automatically feels he is never a victim. He feels free during those seconds, during those minutes. That is what we want to grasp. But the next minute he is not soul conscious. Soul is not conscious. Ego, then you will not feel you are not a victim. No, ego will feel a victim. And then he will just say, oh, Baba said this in the Murli, and Baba, we are feeling this, that kind of ordinary. Then it is Rajo effort. Sato Pradhan effort is you let the soul become conscious, and then you are experiencing what Baba is telling us. Yes, sure. Let us go for the comments, questions.
Thank you. Yes, one more question. I'm not sure, is hypnosis possible or useful to those living in a world of the seas that you mentioned? I seem to have gone fuzzy here. To those living in a world of seas that you mentioned, complaining, criticizing, comparing, competing.
Hypnosis. Baba doesn't encourage, hypnosis as a method. And I feel it is because the real transformation will happen in an active way, not in a passive. Just like hypnosis, you are not conscious. There are suggestions given under hypnosis, and and it may have results also, but they are not. You are not involved in it. You have not used knowledge. You have not brought about the transformation. There is no realization. So it is passive, and so it will not have the lasting effect. It is superficial, and then wind changes and it comes back again, and deeper root is not removed. We have the option, as we are saying, game of 1 second. Go for the best and go for what is truth, and go for the confluence is the time when we address the root. We have been doing the superficial fixes through the copper age and iron age. Now we go and replace the whole thing.
It's very powerful. And you know what you said earlier, the Iron Age is a place that reinforces the beggar, slave, and victim. Or this is the place of a full blast environment. And it felt, when you said that, it's necessary in a way to go through this time, because just like anyone building the muscles, they need something to create resistance, and then the muscles will be built. You need something. So the muscles of the angel is the proof of the angel to be the embodiment in order to prove itself in a way. So it is not the beggar, it's not the victim, not the slave. It's like the best game to make the angel strong, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very clear.
But yeah, the comment in the chat, agree and understood. Question here, how to shine 100% whilst engaged in action? Because it is common to get absorbed with doing and then forget to shine. That's the comment or question.
Yes. Make the best use when you are not in action. There is a time when you are not in action. See how how much you are able to use that time in the highest possible way. And then muscles will become stronger, paras will become stronger. Even for 1 minute, 5 minutes, but create that quality experiences.
Interesting. And I think we could be clever as well in finding time within the roles that we play. Even if you just say, I'll come back to you in 1 minute, if you have that opportunity, and you could even bring your mind out of the scene. But the application is that you will come to that person or that interaction from a higher consciousness. So you change the game. So I agree with you, though. Don't wait for the situation. Practice when the going is good, but you can also bring it in, I think. It's quality minutes. Yeah, so we've almost come to time. We have a drill. But if you have any final aspects you want to bring.
We'll meet tomorrow. And Sister Jayanti is joining us tomorrow at the beginning. So encouragement to all of us to join in good time.
Yes, thank you. And a good reminder. And this drill will be building on this aspect of confluence age and a time to experience that relationship of the invisible prince with the king. And that's the power, isn't it, to realize the unconditional bond of love. So enjoy it, and meet you tomorrow. Om Shanti.
अभी 2 मिनट के लिए सभी परमात्म सने संगम योग के आत्मक मौज के स्थिति में स्थित हो जाओ इसी अनुभव में बार बार हर दिन में समय पर समय